go drop like rain, nigga, watch me hit those trees. And here we go, back again. You guys already know what time it is, just like the last video, no cheats, no repeats, and there will be unexpected picks. This is the best and worst taijutsu users in Naruto, and getting right to it, our best taijutsu practitioner is very obvious. My guy, the Blue Beast, the man with the power of youth. Guy Sensei is the punchingest, kickingest combatant you'll meet in the Naruto world, and unlike his not son Lee, he can actually use ninjutsu and just chooses not to. The crazy thing is that even without his use of the 8 gates, Guy is fisting down on most of the shinobi world by himself, and with them, he was able to kick the Ten Tails Jinchuriki in half, and just so we can really give him the credit he deserves, if Guy's taijutsu is a 10, the next entry on the list is an 8. And that's how far away Guy's taijutsu skills are. He quite literally is the greatest of all time. But smacking his way through a crowd just to come in second, we have Madara. And yes, I do think Madara's taijutsu is a whole step down from Guy's. And I say that referring to regular Madara, not Jubidara. Although, if it wasn't for the buff to reaction time, I'd fail to see how just getting physically stronger makes you a better fighter. But regardless, Madara being an 8 means most regular shinobi sit at a cool low 5 to high 4. And to be real, if Guy hadn't shown one of the most blatantly powerful feats in the series, Madara would be the best. And even that is a wide gap. Like, I think Naruto has hands, but I don't think he's beating Madara in a hand-to-hand. And speaking of Naruto, I would have put him next, but because of the no repeat rule, I'll go with the next best taijutsu user that hasn't shown up on any of the lists. And that's Orochimaru. And I bet a lot of you thought I forgot about him in the previous videos, but I specifically reserved the spot for Orochimaru because I wanted to highlight some of his crazy physical feats throughout the series. Beyond absolutely stomping Hiruzen to the point where he had to use his double kill technique and it didn't even work, Orochimaru participates in a fight with the 2 other Sannin without the use of his arms, and takes one of the craziest beatings we see in Naruto from Tsunade of all people, and low-key kinda tanks it. Now, of course Tsunade was weakened from her fight with Kabuto and the whole thing prior, but she was still really giving it to Orochimaru, and he was still doing curse you I'll be backs on the way out. Not to mention he shot it with Naruto in the four-tail state and then goes on to ultimately be unkillable, which doesn't have anything to do with his hands, but I'd think twice about beefing with someone who was immortal. I'd do it, but I'd think about it more than once is what I'm saying. But taking it downtown, as they say, let's get into our worst taijutsu users. And a little less so, but like Genjutsu, most of Naruto's roster could go here because we don't see full-fledged fights between some people, and even when we do, sometimes the fight consists of mostly ninjutsu and genjutsu. Like, if Shikamaru hadn't shown up on the worst genjutsu users, he'd definitely be here because I don't think we ever even see Shikamaru throw a punch. But that goes for a lot of people, most notably Kankuro, who barely moves at all during his fights and even loses 90% of the fights he has. And while his fighting style doesn't beg to know any taijutsu, I still feel like we should have seen a situation where he had to deal with an up-close opponent just to highlight it as a clear aspect of fights Kankuro would eventually have to encounter. But if Kankuro's the worst, then our next entry isn't far behind him, and is possibly actually worse, and that's Iruka. And the only reason I put him here above Kankuro is because in his one fight, he moves more and tanks more damage than Kankuro does in all of his fights. But considering that Kankuro made Jonin and Iruka didn't, I'm gonna leave it like this and you swap the two however you feel. But our last pick is far from worst, but even further from best. I'm gonna have to go with Kiba. And I know his Fang over Fang is supposed to be classified as taijutsu, but are we really going with that? And like a work-obsessed paleontologist, I love to bring up old stuff. Remember when Kiba literally got his face kicked into the dirt by a Naruto that copied his moves from a fight they had all just watched? Cause Pepperidge Farm remembers. And I do have an honorable mention for best taijutsu users, and it's kind of a twofer cause it's Obito, but the reason I didn't put Obito here is because I would have rather put Kakashi, but since he was in the ninjutsu video and I didn't want to replace him with Obito for the same fight, because that's basically the same thing, I just decided to let Madara tag in. But hey, That's the video. Who are some of your picks for best and worst taijutsu users? And what do you think about the ones on this video? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, do a subscribe, and remember to come back for more. I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, peace.
That thunder on me clap, make a nigga think before he act. Have a nigga dying on his back, then we double back. Shooters leaving rubber where you at. That's why niggas never wanna match.